Hi. You guys should
That
see.
was impressive.
You guys should see my face on that one. That was funny.
Are we gonna get to see your face on that?
But anyways, yeah. So last time we did this, we were discussing the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And we only made it through like the first main principle, which was how to make people generally interested in you. And a lot of that was just like, don't criticize people, be sincere, give them praise, smile. A lot.
If you're on the runway, have your smize eyes.
Exactly, because that is true, actually. You can smile in so many more ways than just actually smiling. It comes in your tone. Your eyebrows are huge for it. So, what we're going to talk about today really comes into play over the last the last 24 hours is the principle of how to win people the way of your thinking. So, let me start this with posing you guys a question. What is the best way to win an argument?
Understand the other person's side.
Okay.
By not arguing.
By not arguing. That is the most correct answer. The best way to win an argument is to not have an argument. The best way to tell someone they're wrong is not to tell them they're wrong. I know that sounds very contradictory, but if you make someone feel like they've lost the argument, you've lost the argument. Because it's going to make them resentful to you winning the argument. It's going to make them more stable in their beliefs that they know that they're right, and they have to now prove that they're right again and again and again. Let me give you a quote. Let me find it. Yeah, no, it's basically the same thing. It's straight from Dale Carnegie. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. We are often tempted to argue with others, especially when we're absolutely convinced that we're right about something. But even if we're right, what does arguing about it yield? Why prove something else? Why prove someone else wrong? Is that going to make that person like us? Why not let them save face? And if we have nothing to gain but feeling superior, what's the point? So lately, or in the last 24 hours, like I was saying, we've had a situation brewing in the community, and I will be the first one to say that the first half of the conversation I had with said person, I was not paying attention to these facts, and it was only making things worse. And the moment, like, I felt myself switch to this, and it felt like it was gaining some speed on getting better, but in the end, the situation just wasn't savable. But yeah, so give me some examples on when argumenting went wrong for you guys.
Oh gosh, I cry. When I get too emotionally involved in an argument, and I forget myself and just go into I'm gonna be in an argument mode now. I just get too angry and I start crying. So you can't get anywhere with that. Crying is not the answer.
People argue because they want to feel validated and correct. However, Kitten, are you playing with plastic again? Anytime someone starts an argument with you, you can take it in two ways. You can take it in the fact that, like I said before, they want to feel validated, or you can take it as an opportunity because that person is showing enough interest and enough caring about you to try to help you fix an issue. That's another reason you do not want to engage in arguments when you're confronted with one, because obviously that person cares about you or cares about the subject. Disengaging with the aggressive tendencies of argumenting will get you to the point where you can learn what their point is, and you can see where your faults are, their faults are, and then work together to make sense of the matter. Make sure this is the right one. Go ahead.
There's a big difference too, between having a intense discussion and having an argument.
True.
It is two separate things, and they can easily move back and forth, and often do, especially when two people are very, very involved in a topic and aren't as aware of their personal emotions as they probably could be, or maybe should be. It's very, very easy to be in an intense discussion and move into an argument. It's not as easy to move that back out of the argument back into an intense discussion phase, but it's possible. And I feel necessary. I think the world needs more people who are willing to engage in difficult discussions. But that's a
True. So let's hear from some other people in here. How does this topic really affect you in Twitch and streaming? How do you guys think it connects to it? Give me some examples.
I guess one way would be just handling and dealing with people who come in with the intention to troll or to make you start an argument with them or cause trouble on your channel and whatnot.
That is exactly where I was going with it. So good job with that. Yay. So okay, say I came into your channel and instantly started telling you that whatever you were doing was awful and you suck. How are you gonna handle that?
The other day, I had somebody actually jump in my channel and was just doing that exactly. Just everything I did, they were saying was wrong, just trying to get me angry. And I did the whole kind of kill them with kindness kind of thing, like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm glad to have you here in the channel, that kind of stuff. And they eventually just said, listen, you're making this really hard on me. I'm trying to make you mad. And I'm like, well, I hate to say this, but I don't think that's really going to work here. So if you want to stick around and watch, you can. And then they eventually just left peacefully.
That is 100% the best way to handle that.
It's like my life motto. I kill everybody with kindness. Just saying.
Same. As much as possible, I do the exact same thing.
I think I would have had one this morning, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah?
I can't remember his name, though. And I don't want to say it in this discussion either way, but
Viewer
they followed. Yeah, exactly. They joined my stream and followed. And I knew immediately from the name that potentially, probably 80% chance it was a troll. So I said inside my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to say their name on stream. That's what they want anyway. And I did it excitedly. And they literally said in chat, thank you for saying my name. I respect you for that. And I said, you know what? I respect you for carrying that name. So, I think if it was a troll, I definitely shot it down before anything could even come of it.
Fair.
Which I'm thankful for, obviously.
Okay. So, we've already covered the fact that you should avoid arguments as much as possible. When you're in an argument, the best way to shut it down is to find ways to agree with your opponent. Perfect example in the book from Dale Carnegie was he gave an example of a truck salesman. The guy was known to be very hot-headed. He would argue and argue and argue no matter what, like at social get-togethers, out drinking, at work, with employees, with customers, which is obviously not good. He was quoted saying, like, anytime he had a customer come in and say that truck A from company A was so much better than truck B from his company that all he would do was see red. And near the end of every argument, he would almost always win the argument, but he would come away saying, you know what, I really told that guy something, and I'm happy. But at the end of the day, he also didn't sell anything to that guy. Dale Carnegie, back when he wrote this, like right before he wrote this book, actually had a class in his university about all of this, and that same person took a lot of the things that he was teaching and started changing his mindset going into an argument or going into selling these trucks. So anytime from that point on, if he had a person come in and say truck A from truck company A is so much better, he would instantly agree with him. But like, you know what? You're right. Truck A is a fantastic truck. They have all of these great things about them. And what that does is it just completely deflates any chance of an argument. Like, if you can't argue with someone that's saying, yes, I agree with you. Like, there's just no way. You can argue, like, no, you shouldn't, or you shouldn't agree with me. But then you're fighting, then you're arguing the other guy's point for him.
But at the same time, if you're admitting that a product is better than yours, you have to have something to defend on to still...
But not really.
So there are neutral ways of making it sound like you're in agreement without actually being in an agreement with somebody.
In summary, like, don't have arguments. Avoid arguments as much as possible. And find ways to deflate the arguments before they happen. What, in the aspects of networking and... Well, I mean, just generally the topic of handling people, would you guys like to discuss?
I think, when it comes to the topic of just networking in general, people have issues with the whole, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, that, and vice versa. Of, wanting support from people without wanting to return that support, kind of thing. That is kind of an issue I think people face a lot. With, like, I think Salty did, a lot of pushing that with the whole Twitter thing, going out and talking to people, jumping in their streams and stuff, and, they will do it in return, but don't just do it with the goal of getting, support for yourself. Actually, do it with supporting them and then hoping that, they may show the support in return.
So that actually goes into something I was getting into on Twitter not too long ago as well. What you're talking about is the abundance mindset. So let me preface this with a question to all of you. When is the best time to network? The best time to network is when you don't need to network at all. It's when you don't need help with anything. You don't need anything from anybody. That is the best time to network. Because when you are not in need of something, you are 110% more likely to give to people. And it goes back to what we were talking about before with giving or having a value for the people you are trying to network with. Being in the mindset of, if I help them, they will help me, is actually bad. In the sense of, like you were saying, you're expecting something in return. But really, if you want to get anywhere in life, and this is not just networking, this is life, if it will take longer, but if you are in the mentality of always giving, the world and the universe will conspire to do good things for you. I know it's very cheesy, and I'm not one that typically likes to be super cheesy, but I'll say it again, if you are in the abundance mindset, the universe will conspire to help you. Okay, so... We've talked about arguing today, and why not to do it. We've talked about the abundance mindset. We had a quick little summary of what we talked about the first time since we didn't record, which was basically just, if you want to be interested in other people and smile, and don't criticize. Which goes back into, it really ties into, like, the arguing thing.